Kathy at North Star Prepsteader. Well, I've waited all winter to take you around my yard and my garden to show you what's growing and where things are at. And it's still so cold and rainy. I'm under the umbrella right now. You can see this. And it's 37 degrees. So I'm just grateful it's not snow. It's the last day of April. We're on April 30th right now. And April showers are supposed to bring May flowers. But I do have one flower that's blooming, so I want to show you that. I just got to show you too my boots. These are my rain boots. They're so fun. I just have so much fun with them. Summer hits pretty quickly and I don't often get to wear them very much. I'm going to show you first of all my tulip bed here. See how it's growing. Look at the Columbine. Oh, and the tulips have lots and lots of buds on them. So we are growing like crazy. So the tulips certainly survived really well after just 2 weeks ago, well 2.5 weeks ago now, they had 20 inches of snow on top of them. I was worried that the Columbine was going to freeze, but that has survived really well. You can see some of the leaves here, a little floppy, and those are the ones that were really affected by the snow. But everything else that's new and growing up is doing really well. You might wonder why I have like a patch here and then a patch down there. Well, in between, there's a lot of other things that are growing, and they're just taking their time. So I'm trying to get this all perennials so I don't have to be worried about planting them every year. And here is one little guy. I'm not even sure what that is. I planted the bulbs last year. You can see there's another bulb there growing up. But I'm not even sure exactly what it is. And here's the north side of the house. It was cleared out last year. You can see all of these dark brown blotches here are actually fern roots. So this whole area is abundant in ferns. And this area, it's all cleared out here, has lilies of the valleys that grow up. And I don't see anything coming up yet, but it won't be long. Here's one of my apple trees. It's a Connell red. These buds don't look so great, so I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen. This whole tree was only half alive last year, so we'll have to see what's going on with it. And I have a big ash in the front and a couple pine trees. Here's my other apple tree. This is a Haralson apple, and it needs some serious trimming. It's very, very crowded in there, and a lot of branches broke last year because we had such a heavy harvest. And you can see on the ground, these are all apples that fell off during the winter to feed the rabbits, but the rabbits didn't quite keep up with them, so I have some cleaning up to do. I just have to get some decent weather to be able to do it. So, and this is my other little apple tree. It's a Macintosh, and it really took some abuse from the rabbits this year. I'm not sure if it's going to focus in very well, but you can see where the ends are just so chewed off all the way up here. And this is about 3 feet above the ground. You can see where that is right here, that they were chewing off these branches and the little new nubbins at the end of the branches. That's how deep the snow was. It was 3 feet here, and they needed food, so they chose my apple tree. Now I typically keep the trunk protected through the winter, but there just wasn't a way to protect these branches. Now I did just watch a video from Luke at MI Gardener, and he was telling about his peach trees that didn't make it, and that he was going to wrap them in burlap. So that is a possibility. Well, at least this Macintosh is still really small. I can certainly do that. Oh, something else I forgot to show you in the south bed, right next to where all the tulips and the Columbine are growing, is one of my peony plants coming up. Look at how great they're coming up. So I've got that one, I've got one in front of the house, I have one in the front yard. I've kind of this shrub area that I really wish I could just get rid of, but I don't have a stump grinder. Anyway, there's, right there you can see the little roots there coming up, or the little sprouts. That is one peony plant. There's another one here, and another big one here. You can see all the starts there. I have one here, and another one right here next to this old stump. And another one here. So you can see I need to do some after winter cleaning, getting the leaves out and trimming any grass that may have been left over. You can see some of the shrubs are starting to bud out and get their leaves going. But I've got this entire hedge of lilacs, and they're kind of a medium lavender lilac. But look at the leaves are all budding out. So those are starting to show some life and get ready to fill out here. And this big old tree that you've seen me next to many times in videos is an apricot tree. Now I planted it many years ago. It was a twig that was about 8 inches high, and I planted it and watered this stick, and now I've got to cut it back every year because it just grows so fast. It has flowered. It has produced a few apricots that are inedible. Other than that, it just provides shade for my kitchen. It doesn't provide any food. So when you plant your fruit trees, make sure you know what you're getting and what you're doing, and do a lot of research. And here's my garden. Now it looks like snow on there, but it's not. So my little makeshift gate here is a brick and a wire gate, which I hope to improve this year. One on my mini list of projects here. Hopefully I don't run into any snakes in here. Now, the beds were fairly depleted at the end of last year. You see the soil level is quite down there. I did add leaves to each of the beds, and in between the beds I have wood chips, which I'm going to deal with this year. We'll see what we can do. But here is my strawberry bed. Now last year, normally cover them straw. I didn't have any straw, but I just covered them with leaves, and look, they are coming up and doing great. This is the second year for them. So the first year, you can see where I've got a lot of the runners just cut. I think you can see it anyway. But the first year you don't want to be picking any strawberries from it, so if you get any blossoms, you want to pull those off. You also want to cut the runners because you want the energy to go right into your strawberry plants so that they can be nice and substantial and be able to grow really nice and thick. So I'm excited that they are doing this well at the end of April. Typically here, strawberry harvest is in the middle of June somewhere. All right, here is my comfrey plant. It looks just totally dead, but it's not. All you need is a little comfrey root, and you can just stick it in the ground, water it, and that will be good. Let me see if I can hold the camera, the umbrella, and dig all at the same time. So now you can see, I'm hoping that you can see here, you can see little starts going out here. Way deep in the soil, they're starting up. So every year you want to cut this all back. And then you can take your leaves and compost them, incorporate them into the soil of your other beds, wherever you're planting. You can also take the leaves, if they're really good, dry them and keep them for medicinal purposes throughout the year. Now this is where I'm going to be putting the herbs. This was fresh soil last year, and I've got a lot of little weeds coming up in here that I need to deal with once it stops raining. It's kind of what happens when you get fresh soil that's just right from the barnyard. There's all kinds of other seeds and weeds that are in there, but it's such rich soil because there's a lot of manure that's mixed into that. Anyway, you can see the beds need some more dirt added to them, and some more leaves and compost and some other things that I'm going to put into these. The soil on this bed is down about 6 inches. Which I like to have them up to about 3 inches from the edge. Now this one's a little bit better, but still needs some more. Now I know you're wondering, what is that white stuff in there? That is shredded paper. And I'm going to do a video on what I do with that. So anyway, don't just go throwing it in there to incorporate it into everything. There's a specific purpose. So when I'm ready to do a video on that, I will let you know. So one of the things that I need to do in here, you see I put some more wood chips in last year. This was a new batch last fall. It still is not covering everything. One of the things that happens with wood chips, of course, is that they decompose. And you can see how this one is decomposing. The other layers of wood chips that I put under here, it's all dirt that's over my ground cover. And what happens is that weeds grow into this. I get a lot of blow over from the fields that are nearby, from all the trees, and I get all kinds of stuff growing in here. Dandelions, trees, all kinds of weeds, grass, everything that makes it harder to maintain. One of the purposes of this, oh yay, it's starting to sleet. But one of the purposes of having this ground cover in here is to be able to have nice paths and to keep my workload down. I'm not a spring chicken anymore, and I need to streamline what I have. That's been my task for many years here, probably at least 15 years. It's just streamlining what I have in the yard and the garden to keep my workload down, to make things simpler and easier. It does require a little bit of extra work on the front end, but I mean, compared to weeding the garden, and the weeds grow crazy so fast. But from just having to weed through a few of the beds here, it makes it so much easier. I do have my plan, so if you saw my garden plan, you know I'm going to be putting some containers at certain places around the fences here and growing the squash up the fence and the zucchini and everything. I'm also going to put some tomatoes in some pots there and secure them to the posts near the fence so that they've got their vertical support for them. Years and years ago, when I had the garden stretched out about another 12 feet, in this particular corner, it went back almost to that building. It was about 3 feet from that building, so the garden was back further, and it had a corner again of the fence here. And what I did at that time is I had a grapevine that was planted. It would have been over there more, but it was planted right outside this fence in the corner here. Had it grow up this post and then out this way and then out this way, and it stretched just about 30 feet out on this side of the fence and at least a good 20 feet on this side of the fence. And it was an amazing grapevine. It was also a time that I was just not making jellies anymore because of the sugar and the carbs and different things like that. So you know, when we talk about only growing things that you eat, you have to really look at what you've got here in this space. Just like that grapevine. I stopped needing the grapes and it just became a bunch of work. And I was just giving the grapes away, and you know, you've got to trim it back, you've got to protect it. There's just a lot of work to a grapevine. So I was just made the decision when I shortened up the garden here. It's like that grapevine's gonna go, and it was tough to dig out. It was really hard. Really think about what it is you're gonna eat, what your diet is. You know, certainly keep a little amount of space in the garden somewhere where just for trying new things if you want to, but don't plant tons of it if it's something you're not going to eat. Like if you don't like okra, don't plant lots of okra just because everybody's planting okra. So anyway, yeah, just, you know, be prudent, be wise in what you plant. Because for me, this is the space I have. Yes, I have a lot of other yard back there, and I've used it before, and I will get into that in another video, but it's more work than I can handle at this point in my life, and it's more food than I need and have time to harvest and put up. I never did finish what I was going to say. All these wood chips, because they're decomposing and things are growing in them, I need to replace it with rock. I have to scrape all of the wood chips out. I'm going to put another really good weed barrier over the one that's there, and then put rock in. hopefully that'll take care of a lot of things for many years. All right, so we are back in the backyard here. I do have, so there's my garden. I have a clothesline. The grass back here is already ready to be mowed. But I've got some cleanup to do here. There's a lot of branches down from the winter. A lot of things are gonna clog up the mower. See some more things here. Now this is my dirt pile, and things are growing in there. I had this, it was all sifted and wonderful and everything. I had it delivered right before winter started. It was around the end of October. This is like major seed in there. It looks like a bean. Looks like a bean growing in there. Yeah, probably soybeans or something that are growing. I had this delivered around the end of October and ended up having to be gone for a few days right after it got delivered, and then it rained, and then winter hit. I mean, within just a matter of days we had snow, and there was just no way I could get back here and put it into my garden beds because there's a lot of hauling and transferring and everything. So a few weeks after that, while we still had a lot of snow here, the power line company came by and trimmed trees up here. You see there's the power lines. They trimmed these trees and dropped everything right here on top of the space I had all cleared out and on top of my garden and everything. The other thing is I had this wonderful pile of leaves here to incorporate into my garden, and at some point during the winter somebody plowed the alley and shoved them all right up into my wonderful dirt, my garden dirt that was all ready to go. So I've got some work here now to, when it stops raining and it's warming up a little bit, that I'll be able to get out here. I've got to take each one, sift through it. So I'm gonna have to end up fighting all summer long whatever's growing in there, but the soil will be rich. The plants will grow well. I just have to keep on top of the weeds. Fresh compost from the barnyard has all kinds of seeds. And you wonder, well, why do they get seeds in the barnyard? Well, there's a lot of manure there. What do the animals eat? The cows, everything. They eat all these grains, and all that grain goes down into their manure, and it gets composted, and those seeds are still there. So it's amazing how seeds can survive going through an animal system, and then out in that, and then composted and out in a yard, and then sifted through and gone through, and they still survive to be put into my garden beds to grow. So anyway, it'll be all good. I'll have some fresh dirt, and that's what I want. Anyway, this is my garden outside, and I can't wait to get out here and start working. So you guys take care. I hope your gardens are coming along. I know in the south, oh my goodness, just watching what you guys are doing and able to get done. So it's April 30th today. I still have 2 to 3 weeks before I can get anything out here. And yeah, it's sleeting right now. We still could get another snow too. That's been known to happen, but I'm hoping not. I hope we don't have any hard freezes just because of my strawberry plants up and the flowers starting to come up and bloom, but so everything's coming up. So hey you guys, I'm gonna get back inside. I'm getting a little chilly, hands are bare. And so anyway, this is my yard after winter. Haven't done anything out here yet, so we'll see you guys later. You guys take care, God bless, and always have hope. Bye-bye.